Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining our V4D4Rhino Photogrammetry plugin demo event. My name is Martin and I work for HDM Design Technologies. Today I'm going to walk you through the latest beta of the V4D4Rhino plugin. If you have any questions, please write them into the chat. My colleague Calliope is going to answer all the questions there. So the beta of the plugin was developed by a larger group of people, including McNeel, the Rhino developers, in the scope of the EU-funded Horizon 2020 project V4Design. Some of you might already be familiar with the project, maybe through our website, or you went to some of our previous events. For those who don't know anything about the project yet, I'm going to show a 3-minute video clip that quickly introduces you to the project's main objectives.
In a world where visual and textual data are in abundance, creative industries want to reuse and repurpose them so as to innovate and remain competitive. V4Design is an H2020 project that aims at developing novel digital content analysis techniques. Its easy-to-use platform enables the reuse of videos, photos, and text to generate 3D models from video content, extract aesthetic and stylistic information from images, such as paintings and videos, localize buildings and objects of interest within visual content, provide dynamic 3D models annotated with textual information so as to inspire and support designers, architects, as well as the 3D and VR game industries. So far, the V4Design platform has created thousands of 3D models of buildings, monuments, interior objects, and landscape features. The developed technologies and tools are validated through 4 use cases. The first 2 are applied to architecture and design, where V4Design inspires and supports architects, designers, and artists in designing and creating large objects such as buildings, statues, etc., and novel collections of small-scale industrial objects like furniture. Architects are provided with an authoring tool through which users have the ability to reuse and repurpose 3D objects and export their output in VR. Desired content can efficiently be detected using a variety of advanced search mechanisms that are applied upon semantically enriched dynamic models. Retrieved assets can be imported into a CAD design environment developed on top of Rhinoceros 3D. The later 2 use cases focus on VR game design, supporting the reuse of content to build VR games and VR environments that will allow users to have realistic and immersive experience. The game authoring tool consists of 2 different software solutions. The first is an editor based on Unity engine for game development. It uses the native functionalities of Unity, while at the same time, various new features are implemented that extend the ability to create, modify, and deliver VR apps easily. Game designers are able to use interaction templates to create environments that encourage and allow various forms of interaction to the end users. V4Design also offers a VR application that enables the creation of new environments directly from inside the virtual world. The app imports assets and questions from the V4Design databases and can run on any VR-compatible device, such as the Oculus Rift. With V4Design, people are enabled to become involved in an immersive experience provided by 3D and VR environments, enhanced with metadata from textual and visual analysis, as well as open-linked data. This V4Design toolbox, apart from just providing a list of 3D models, gives users the opportunity to participate in the enrichment of this collection by providing their own content, reinforcing their involvement in the platform. Follow our steps through our website v4design.eu or directly connect to our social media channels. If you want to learn more about the project and the technologies, do not hesitate to contact the coordinator and technical manager of the project.
So that is our brief overview video. So to summarize it, the project is about the repurposing of visual content for 3D reconstruction. So what we basically do is we have content providers, like for example, the Europeana Foundation, and they have a huge content database of videos, for example. And we want to understand this visual data to create mask from it, to understand like what is the visual quality, but also understand the metadata of these contents. So then we reconstruct 3D models with photogrammetry from this content. With the metadata, we create text information such as descriptions or summaries or tags to make the models searchable. And with the visual understanding, the visual data, we want to get, for example, masks to clip our models or to restyle them for different emotions, for video game design, for example. All comes together in this V4Design pipeline as our systems. And this pipeline then branches into 2 interfaces that are integrated in our design environment, our design tools. That is for architects, it's integrated in Rhino 3D, and for game designers, it's integrated in Unity. So today I'm going to show you the interface for architects. That is the V4D4Rhino Photogrammetry plugin. So, and before I go into our use cases, I'm going to give you a brief overview of the plugin. So I open my Rhino here, or I have it already open. And as soon as you have access to the plugin, you will see it here on the side. You can search it with the little gear button, and then you see it here, the V4D4Rhino. And it asks you to log in with a username and password. So I'm going to do this. I click on login. And as soon as I log in, it will load the 3D model database already. And you will have this window here. Now the 3D models are loaded, and it takes a little bit of time, but not too long. You have a search and filter bar at the top where you can add search term and then click on this little magnifying glass icon to search for them. And you have filter options for full asset, basic assets, BIM assets, bookmarks asset, and downloads asset. So this one is just if you bookmark something for later or download something that is not tied to a functionality of the asset. That is on an organizational structure, but these 3 are tied to functionality. Maybe I go from the ones that is not completely developed yet. That's a BIM asset. We only have 3 in there yet. This is currently under heavy development by Cool, Karl Löwen. And they actually add BIM data to our assets. So what they do is they segment the assets, and they then know, okay, what is the wall, what is the roof, what is the beam. If you would like to see a bit more about this, they have some YouTube videos that explain it. I linked them in the video description here also. But let's go now into the main functionality that is based on full assets and basic assets. So let me search for asset to narrow this a little bit down here. So maybe I search for fountain. So, and then I click here, and you see I have a few assets that contain the name fountain. But what you see here is one is double, this one here. That is it has the same thumbnail. And that is not twice the same asset. So if you go to full asset now, I see only this one. And if I go to basic assets, I only see this 3. And as you see also they have in the top left, they have this little icon here. One is a 3D icon and the other one is an eye icon. So in the eye icon is actually a basic assets. That is an asset that was uploaded or is found in one of the databases and prepared for 3D reconstruction. But it was not run through the 3D reconstruction pipeline yet. So when you click on it, you see it here. This is the thumbnail enlarged. You can, when you right click, you can even convert it to a material in Rhino. You have a quick description, what this asset is about. It is taken from our semantic data. It's same with the tags. You can add comments here and a rating. You see it's a 5-star rating, so it's a pretty high rated asset. And what you see below here is our video shots. So basically what we do is we segment our videos that we upload into these shots for 3D reconstruction. So if I want to 3D reconstruct this model, I have to select a shot and click here on reconstruct, and then it sends a 3D reconstruction request. That will take a few minutes, so I'm not going to show this here live, but if you want, you can try it out yourself after accessing the beta. What you see below here then is the bookmark icon, and you can rate and comment the asset here. So the 3D asset is after reconstruction. So after you clicked on reconstruct and the reconstruction is finished, you will get an asset like this. So it looks the same more or less in this view, except for the little 3D icon at the top, but it has different functionalities. So instead of the shots here, you get textures. So I could actually apply this texture to the model. So to change the style, for example. Yeah, right now it's also here, it's a beta, it's still in development, but in the future we'll have much more textures here to apply to it. So you have like some emotions that show more dark texture, more colorful texture, more painting style. So you have a huge variety to choose from here. And down here you have the bookmark, the rate again, and you can download the model directly from in Rhino. It's the same as here. So you can click here on the little cloud icon. Then the download starts, as you see it here. Now it takes a few seconds to do so. I can take the time now to show you the import functionality. So if you want to upload your own data, if you're not satisfied with the data in our database, you can simply click on the little plus icon here and create a new asset. You just have to type an asset name, a little description, and some tags for the assets. And then you can choose a video file from here and submit it. I'm going to show this a little bit more in detail in our use case demonstration. So as soon as it's downloaded here, you can click on the little plus icon, and after a few seconds, it should appear in your Rhino viewport. Let's wait a little bit. See, it's still loading here. And here you go. So that's the asset. That's now in shaded or in wireframe view. Where I go to render view, I can see that it actually has a texture. And the asset is rotated. Since it's photogrammetry, we don't have really control about the rotation of the object. But I think it's an easy fix here. So like this. And you see it captures the whole scene. So there's a bit of noise around. But the model that I'm actually looking for here is this one. And that is, if you compare it to the image, it's a pretty accurate model of the of this fountain in Stockholm. So the rating is actually right. So if I like this model, I could actually leave another rating or bookmark it for myself here. I could leave another rating, give it a 5-star rating, say very good asset. You see a little bit of the top is missing. That might be because of a reflection there, because photogrammetry is not very good with reflections and transparencies. So I say little part of the top missing. Can even get give a 4-star rating because of this. So submit this for other users. So so yeah, that's more or less the basic functionalities of the plugin. And now I would go into our pilot use cases. So to develop this plugin, we, from the architecture side, we thought about 2 pilot use cases. So the first one is architectural design related to existing or historical buildings and sites and their environments. What that means is actually we have a scenery, for example, in our real-life use case here of the Museum of the 20th Century that we with HDM currently planning in Berlin. So, and there are some assets missing to complete it for either studies or reference or visual images, visualizations. So some of you might know this project, and it is in a very prominent spot in Berlin because it's next to a new National Gallery. I think the architects amongst you know that building pretty well. And the Philharmonie of Berlin from Hans Scharoun and the St. Matthäus Church of Friedrich August Stüler. So we could find these assets because they are all pretty famous online really fast. So then we bought them online and we put them on our models, and that was not a problem. But what we couldn't find is this artwork here. And this artwork was actually visible in our renders. So, and the missing asset that we're looking for here is the Archer by Henry Moore, also pretty famous artwork. That is not only famous, but also very complicated in shape. So to remodel this takes actually quite a lot of time. So what we thought, since we could not find a model online, but we could find a video online that shows it from all different angles, as you see here, I can quickly skip through that video, maybe without sound like this. Shows it from all different angles, that we could use the V4Design pipeline to reconstruct it from that video. This video was on YouTube under Creative Commons, so we could use it. So, and here we have this video asset. We want to send it through the V4Design pipeline and we want to get a 3D model out. That's the main idea. And now I'm going to show you how we do that. So I go to my Rhino model here. This is my Rhino model of NG20. So, and I'm going to hide this for now and focus more on the V4Design plugin here. So again, I log into the plugin. And again, I get this this first assets that they're loading. But now I know already what asset I'm looking for. So I know already the name of the sculpture and the name of the artist. So I can use the search functionality to quickly go where I want to go. So I just type the name of the artist. So I type Moore and I click on search. And what you see here, I find already 4 assets. So I find 1 basic assets and 3 full assets. So, and I think the first thing I would do if I start such a process, I would just download the full assets and put them in the model to compare them and see if they're already good enough. I can see here already, this has a 3-star rating. It has some bumps apparently, the foot is missing. Then I have this one, it has a 4-star rating. It says a lot that it's a good model. And this one, I think also 3-star because the texture is a bit patchy, but I have to check for myself. So I click here on the download icon. I can do this for all the models in parallel. And after the download is finished, this one won't download. So let's compare the other 2. Now it downloads. Okay. So after it's finished, I can bring them to my design space. So I can find them with select mesh. Let's see. Here, zoom in. Okay, maybe I also want to look at it in rendered view so I see all the texture. So that's the first model that I have, and I see where the bumpy thing comes from. So as we said, this plugin is still a beta, and we're working on the model quality. So if you get beta access, please help us by rating the bad models, so we can build up on that and improve our model quality. So that is the model. The second model, see, it's from here. I think I want to use this perspective. I think it's okay. And then the third model, I'm going to place it here. So, and this is a bumpy texture that we were talking about. I think I'm going to delete these 2 for now. But even if I don't find a model here, because photogrammetry is strongly dependent on the input content. So even if I don't have a model here that I like, but I have a video, or I live in Berlin and I can do a video by myself, for example, that is a bit more suitable for photogrammetry, we can do so by this create new asset functionality that I showed before. You click here, you create an asset name that is the Archer. Then an asset description that is the Archer Henry Moore Berlin, and asset text that would be maybe Moore Archer Berlin. And then I can choose a media file here. I take this one that is my YouTube video, and I can submit the asset. So there's this asset import request sent here, and now it's successful. Now it gets run through the pipeline, and it takes a few minutes until it shows up. So I'm going to skip that part here. It is basically this asset that comes out there, and then you have this thumbnail here. You have the description that we added now. We have the tags that we added, and a few tags from the context. We can comment and rate again, and we have these reconstruction shots here that we can reconstruct an image from. That again would take a few minutes. But let's see now how the plugin actually integrates in our Rhino workflow. So what I can do now with the model is I can use it as a Rhino mesh, as I would use with other mesh. So the first thing, I want to clean up the clutter. So I can do this by the cell mesh faces command. Extract mesh faces. Extract mesh faces. So I use the lasso command to select them. So I click here, 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 here. As you see, it shows a good angle already to actually mask the model. Click enter. I have the faces that I want, like this. I can delete the rest. And now I can bring back my NG20 model here. And I see, okay, it's a bit out of scale because I think this model was imported for visualization from Revit, so it's in millimeters. So scale and by 1000. And it's also upside down. So I go here. Maybe performance-wise, I go better to shaded view. Can rotate my model. Sorry, wrong. It's a pretty heavy model, I'm sorry. Took a few seconds, like this. And to rotate also like this. And now I already selected the spot that I want to place it. So it's this spot here. It's the spot where it actually belongs. And now I simply have to remodel the foot because it was a simple thing, but it was not showing on this due to the video quality. So I take this, I move it a bit up, so say by 600. Oh, sorry, move vertical 600. And I can quickly remodel the foot here. It's a simple cylinder, so I make it 2800 by 600. And now I go back to my Arctic view with textures. And now I want to give this foot a color. And here I can take the color from the texture that is created with the V4Rhino tool. So I can simply go to properties, select a material for this foot here, create a new material. I think plaster is quite good for this. And select a color here with a color picker. So I can take whatever material I want to have from here. Maybe this is good. No, it's maybe too dark. Let's go and take this one from... Yeah, this one's better. Okay. So, and now I have my model already placed in my Rhino file. I can zoom out a little bit. Maybe like this. And I could even place a person if I wanted. I have prepared some here. So, and like this. So, and that's how easy it is to get a model into Rhino with the V4Rhino plugin. So compared to searching this online and paying for it and downloading for it, I think that is a pretty easy and straightforward solution. And as we said, the model quality is going to improve step by step during the development of the full version of this tool. Now back to our presentation. This is how the asset then looks in a 3D visualization as soon as it's finished. And Now I go into the second pilot use case. And the second pilot use case is about architectural design related to artwork, historic, or stylistic elements. That basically means that we want to use the V4Design tool as a design tool to get inspired by a 3D model and have a different source of inspiration for our design process. So, the POC2, the example I'm going to show, was explored by our partners from the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, and they did a variety of courses and lectures about working with photogrammetry as a design tool, especially with working with V4Design as a design tool. And a series of these lectures was about East Asian inspired design. So the demo that we're going to show today is about the design process of a teapot. So they got inspired by the task for the students was to use the V4Design assets to create a teapot design. So they took some elements they like, they modified them in Rhino, they textured them again with textures from the V4Design tool, and then they created this final 3D model and illustration of the teapot. And our colleague Calliope, she's also in the chat if you want to ask questions directly to her, prepared this demo for me that I'm now going to show.
So now we will go and showcase the demo related to use case 2 and related to East Asian culture and arts. So we are logging in V4Design using our login credentials, and now we can see the assets that come up when we browse the initial window. And we will go and type in the term Asia and search for Asian related assets that we would like to use in our project. So here I'm scrolling in and see what assets I may found. I found this temple that I like, so I will bookmark for later use. And then I will find this specific asset that I have already rated as and comment that it contains some good textures to use on my pottery object. So I will keep that also. And I will go further on and bookmark some other assets that I might use later on. So I can hit that little cloud on the bottom right and download an asset, and then I can import it after it has been downloaded in my Rhino environment, hitting this little plus that's also on the bottom right. So now after we import the 3D model in our Rhino environment, I will go ahead and delete some noise that there is around it that we don't need. And we are going to begin and perform several operations on them. We are segmenting parts of it, and we are also adding the stellate command to create more depth on the parts of the facade that we are moving out. And here we start populating different parts of this facade with different stellations on them, creating newly objects that we have articulated by putting together those parts of the facade. Now we will continue and convert our viewport into by using show Z buffer, and now we see this type of depth maps, let's say, that I'm going to save as files that I would like to use in the future in my project. So I will save different of such images from my model that I have created from parts of the facade that I have selected. So now I will go back in Rhino and I'm going to create height fields using these images. So now, as we can see here, I'm selecting an image from the ones that I have saved, and I'm going to apply it in Rhino and create these newly, let's say, 3D textures. I'm giving a height in the height field and creating a new mesh object. So now I'm going to take this object that I have created from the height field, depth map images, and I'm going to now flow it along some base elements that we have created in order to put together our teapot. So I'm going to flow along this object around the sphere, as we can see here. So here is our final object that we have created by putting together several of those spheres in different sizes, scaled up and down. And now what we do is we go back in V4Design and we're going to select the material that we would like to apply on our teapot. As you can see here, we have selected, and I'm going to apply this material now in the part of my teapot that I want. As you can see here, we have added the material, is the green one as we see, and I'm going to repeat the same process and select a different material to add on a different part of my teapot. And here we can see our final result that we have created by using elements and the 3D models that we found within V4Design, but also textures that we have retrieved through V4Design basic assets.
So this is the final illustration of the proposal. Thank you again, Calliope, for that video. If you like to request a beta, please contact Louis from McNeel directly. It's louis@mcneel.com. And please give us feedback. We added 2 questionnaires in the video description also. That would very help us to further develop the project. And yeah, we also have a webpage if you want to get more information of the project. It's v4design.eu, and we also on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. You find us there under @V4Design project. If you would like to stay updated on recent events. Talking about events, we have our open day, or next open day workshop event next Tuesday at 10 a.m. There we show more insights about the project. We're also going to show the Rhino tool again, but we're also going to show the game development tools for Unity and the VR authoring tool. Also here is a link to the registration in the video description. So on behalf of all our partners, thank you for attending. I'm very sorry that my microphone was off for the last 5 minutes. And yeah, anyway, I wish you a great weekend.